Good morning, guys. It's Leslie at Inskeep Acres. Oh, I got sidetracked editing videos this morning, and it's after 10 o'clock already. Hi, little girl. So I'm gonna have some mad goats this morning. I'm going to do my chores real quick, and then the plan is hi, little boys. Yeah, I'll get you your breakfast. Then the plan is to do some more work in the garden this morning. Hi, ladies. What do you think of the clean pen? You're already making a hay mess. I need to make sure I stay on top of raking that up. But I'd like to work on getting the old section of the garden together today, so we'll see if that ends up happening or not. Alright, after some paperwork, computer work, and lunch, finally made it out to the garden. We're going to start gardening today with potatoes. I have some of those potatoes that we had bought from Azure. The reds and russets are all sprouting, what's left of them. So we're gonna plant a bunch of these. I think I'll do probably one bed of russets and probably one bed of reds. So I'm gonna get this cattle panel off of here and get it opened up to take the straw off, get it worked up, and then we'll get to planting potatoes. I'm gonna start just by taking the straw and setting it over on the other side. Pull out all these weeds. Ooh, making some ants mad. Okay, then I'm just gonna make sure that this is loose enough to plant in. Ugh. I've heard people say you can put down cornmeal. I think that's what it was, cornmeal, to get rid of ants. I guess they take it back or they eat it and it swells. I may have to try that. I've had multiple beds already that I run into ants. I think it was last year that we dumped out and refilled these beds. They are just from our compost pile back there, and I think we mixed in maybe some peat moss or something with them. I don't really remember 100%. This bed last year had a few tomatoes and some celery in it. And then the other one over here that we're going to put potatoes in had peanuts. And I may end up doing 2 more beds of potatoes a little bit later. We'll see. Depends on how much of the garden I get redone. If I have extra space, then I will do some more potatoes. If I don't get enough of it redone to plant the other stuff in, then I'm going to need these for that stuff and not potatoes. Okay, sorry ants. Oh, okay, so I think we're gonna put the red potatoes in here. I'm just gonna drop them down here for now. So what is that, 15, I think? No, 3, 6, 9, 12, yeah, 15. It's probably a little more than what I need in this bed, but I tend to not have great luck with potatoes, so we're just gonna go ahead and put that many in. I don't know if these, what variety specifically these are, so I'm just gonna go ahead and dig down, bury it, cover it back up. I've done where you kind of dig a trench and put them in, and then come back and hill them, mound them, whatever you want to call it, as they grow. But like I said, I haven't had the best of luck with potatoes, so I'm just gonna stick them in here, and if they grow, they grow, and if they don't, well, I'm out a few potatoes. Not a big deal because they've already sprouted. I decided several years ago that if something doesn't grow, well, not much point in worrying about it. Nothing I can do. Try and we learn. I thought about trying, I think it's called, is it the Ruth Stout? Something like that method where you just essentially lay them on the ground. Ouch. Pine needles. And then just cover them in straw. But I really didn't want them down on the ground somewhere in the way. Oh, I cover them back up with this straw. Hopefully as a weed barrier, but obviously the weeds got through it last year. I may have to get a little more to make it a little heavier. I took a bunch of that hay from cleaning the doe's pen yesterday and to put on the onions. It's still some pretty long stems. It's going to be hard to lay down on the onions. So I think what I'm going to do is maybe take the push mower and just kind of set up piles and chop it with the push mower a little bit. we have a leaf blower. Oh, that pine needle made me bleed. We have a leaf blower that I can mulch leaves with, but I think I'm gonna just try with the mower. Try to get you guys. Down she goes. Okay, gotcha. All right, got you guys set up in the other bed. It's got a few weeds, but not as many as the other one. Now you can probably see bits and pieces kind of charcoal. We do dump our ash pan from the wood stove into our garden beds. Okay, same thing. And this I'm going to try to turn in just a little bit to get this wood ash turned in. This on top is leaves that I mulched last year. They're breaking down. Looks like maybe some grass and whatever else was mixed in with those leaves. Okay, I'm going to drop the russets in. Oh, what did I bring out? 12, 3, 6, 9, yep. Little roly-polies running around in here. They're not very happy with me. So some of these are just some sprouts starting on them. Some of them, where did it go? These are already starting with roots. So we'll see. If they don't do well, oh well. Not a big deal. find some more straw. I think I've got an old bale over here. It's probably kind of gross, but I had a neighbor that's part of holiday decorating and things like that in town. So when they got done with the town's Halloween decorations, she asked me if I wanted the bales of straw. They had been rained on in whatever weather we had, but I wasn't using them for bedding. I knew I was going to use them for this purpose, so this bale has just been sitting over there since then. So it's just fine for what I want, as long as I break it up and don't leave big mats on top that potatoes can't grow through. Oh, almost knocked you guys over. I think that'll do it. Yeah, that's it. Potatoes planted. I also have, don't know that they're going to make it, but when we were dumping all the manure back there, the stuff from the dough pen, I found, I don't know if they're squash or pumpkins, what they are. There's all kinds of plants that were growing in the manure pile, so obviously it was something that I fed to one of the animals, so I'm going to try to find somewhere, stick these in the ground and see if they come back. And here's our tomatoes. I'm going to water them a little bit later today, once it's not quite so hot out. These, it's hard to see, but there's 7 pieces planted in there are lilacs. I went to my parents and helped them plant some lilacs that they had dug up from my grandma's. And he had a couple huge clumps, so we broke them up, planted them at their place, and these were just a couple little pieces, whoops, that had some roots on them. So there's, I think there's one here, here, it's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So if they come back or continue, then great. If not, well, they were just going to throw them to the side anyway. Our blueberries, kind of hard to see, but I think we might get a few blueberries this year. Not as many as I would like. This thing's not real happy with me at the moment, but this is the elderberry piece that I cut off from over there. So I went way down under the soil, chopped it. It was growing from the other plant, and stuck it over here and watered it in. So we'll see if it comes up, it comes up. If it doesn't, it doesn't. This is everything that I trimmed off of this one that was dead from last year. So this one's still doing really well. This is all there, okay. So this one has multiple spots that hopefully these bunches flower and turn into elderberries. Be our first elderberries from here. Everything else I think didn't make it along here, so I think all the tomatoes look like they're doing well, except this little guy right there. That might be the one that I broke the stem on, so we'll see if it comes back. And then take a look at my jungle in here and decide what we're gonna do. I need to weed eat again. The raspberries obviously are taken over. Bumblebees are all over them, so they look like we might have some decent raspberries this year. They're actually, I don't know if you guys can see it, but they're coming up in here in the walkway. Usually I have to mow them down. The rest of this jungle needs to be taken care of. Onions are doing well. I need to weed those, and like I said, I'm going to try to chop some of this up to put in here. And weed the rest of the asparagus. A bunch of it's going to seed. I need to cut some of that back. But I think what I might try to do today is most of this grass in between these has died off, at least enough that I don't know if I'll stick some cardboard down or just leave it as is, but I want to start taking some of these boxes apart. Probably try to get some of these weeds out and then get it ready to bring some dirt from our compost piles up and start filling these and try to turn this into essentially kind of what we put the tomatoes in out there, a raised bed without the boards. So I need to get this walkway weed-eated down so I can put landscape cloth here so that when I open these beds up it doesn't just fall onto the grass. At least it'll be on the landscape cloth so I can push it back over. And it's pretty sticky out here today. Whew. But I think it's supposed to be like this all week, so I want to try to get some of this done so I can start figuring out some of those peppers. I've got all that zucchini and squash that's coming up. I think I'm going to do peppers. Last year, the year before, peppers were here and here. So while this one is falling apart, I think these are going to have to make it another year because I don't really have anywhere else to put the peppers. The peppers were here last year. I don't want to plant them there again, although we will be bringing in more soil, so probably not a big deal. But all of this not all of it, most of it that's growing up in this bed and flowering is daikon radishes that I planted the winter before last to come up last spring as kind of a cover crop, and I don't mind them flowering and going to seed, and then they come back every year. They help with the soil and kind of help keep some of the weeds down. So I'm going to weed eat and then we'll see what else we can get done in this mess. Ooh, I spot our first strawberry. Not quite ready yet. Looks like there's a couple more starting to turn. Another one not quite ready. Oh, that one's more than the other one. I'll give it another day or so. Oh, alright. Let's work on conquering a little bit of this jungle today. There's a little bit of what I brought out to kind of start hardening off this morning. These are 3 rows of sunflowers. This is our silver queen corn. And then here's all of our peppers. Spin them around here to see what they are. These are Jason's flamethrower habaneros. We actually have 4 of those. Regular habaneros didn't do that well. It looks like there was only 2 that came up. That one died off, so he's got 1. Got 5 serranos. These are not doing too well. Regular jalapenos, and then mucho nacho, which is just a larger jalapeno. These are jalapenos, 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 5, but that one probably won't make it. Let's see, our hot wax, looks like we only have 2. Peperoncinis, that one's probably gonna die. 1, 2, 3, 4. Poblanos, 1, 2, 3, 4. Anaheims, all 5. And the California Wonder bell peppers, all 5. So I did have a fan blowing on these in the sunroom, trying to make them a little bit stronger. Some of them are a little top heavy and kind of spindly, but I think they need to be planted down a little bit deeper in the dirt, soil, I guess. I had thought about, once they got large enough, pinching the tops so that they grow a little bit shorter, stronger, and bushier, but I don't think any of them are really big enough for that. What else do we have over here? Oh, this is what we planted together the day we did all of our planting on the deck with the fertilizer. So our sugar baby watermelons. It's kind of in a shadow. All 3 of these have come up. Our blue Hubbard squash, all 3 of those have come up. The cantaloupe, this one I'm gonna guess may not make it. It hasn't come out of the actual shell of the seed yet, but there's 2 more cantaloupe. Looks like 2 of our, remember we put 2 in each, 2 of our 4 acorn squash come up. 3 of our 4 butternut squash. Absolutely 0 of our spaghetti squash have yet to come up. Losing my tag for whatever's down here. What is this one? Early prolific. That was our yellow squash. 1, 2, 3, 4, all 5 of those. Our zucchini, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Excellent. I have to also figure out where all of this stuff's going to go. Our early purple Vienna, which is kohlrabi, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Tomatillos, it looks like 8 of our 10 came up. And then our early white Vienna kohlrabi, 1, 2, oh, I got 3 in there, 5, 6, 7, looks like 8. Spin those back around, and then here's our herbs that we had planted. Thyme, just a couple of them have made it. Parsley, 1, 2, 3, maybe 4, 5, 6, 7. Lemon balm, looks like 2 plants. That one's not looking so hot. 1 dill, which is fine. I found probably 100 dill plants out there coming up on their own. Cilantro, which we use a lot of, is these 2 rows. So it looks like that's doing really well. Super excited about that. And then these are basil. That one's doing really well. I'm not convinced that one's basil. We've got this little guy. No, little girl, not little guy. Trinity with a Y's, one of her girls. She looks like she's starting to get pink eye. She looks like maybe she rubbed her eye on something. You can kind of see a ring on it. So I am going to go ahead, get you guys spun around here. My neighbor made me, Joey, get a quart, I probably don't pronounce it right, of colloidal silver. Colloidals? Yeah, I don't know. But anyway, I've got some of that in a spray bottle here, so I'm going to spray some of that in her eye. She's probably not going to like me to begin with, but once it starts feeling better, she definitely will. I do have terramycin eye ointment, but okay, they were just screaming at the neighbor. I don't know why, but I do have terramycin eye ointment that I can put in it as well, but I would rather try this first. She made me this actually when Kane got his hot spot started, and when he would let me near him, I was putting that on it, and I think that's kind of what helped clear it up some before we went to the vet, but she's going to be mad at me to begin with. Maybe not too mad. So I'm going to do that several times a day, and we'll see. I actually had, I don't know if it was last year or the year before, Pie, one of our bucks, got really nasty pink eye. I thought maybe he was going to be blind, but he ended up being fine after some treatments, so I'm sure this little lady will be fine too. She just looks uncomfortable right now. Huh. Well, that's it, guys. Have a good day. See ya on the next one.